Oh,
We're live. I'll say
oh, there we go.
that.
There.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Sip and Chat with your crew, D&D. You got Doc and Darrell tonight. How you doing, Darrell?
I'm doing good. Doing good. I mean, I'm cold and windy and got to stay in the house, but I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. This nice cuddle weather.
Somewhere I can rinse some cuddles at. 'Cause
Wasn't there a business in New York where they give you hugs and cuddle with you? You go and pay, and they lay down
really,
with you and hug you. Yes, yes. I wonder if that's still
mm,
in that's still functioning. But yeah,
I
it
wonder.
was a thing.
I
It
wonder
was
what type
before
of people.
COVID, of course.
I
It
wonder
was
what
before
type of people
COVID.
sign up for that.
Hey, I saw an interview with one of the cuddlers, and she was talking about the benefits of hugs, and we know that. Hugs are very
Listen,
beneficial for your physical and mental health. But
mhm.
people were paying to have someone touch them.
So it's very interesting, and this goes to show if you want to make money, you can.
Yes, yes.
You can. If you're out here selling hugs, you out here, you the plug for hugs. It's crazy.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes. And there wasn't a lack of business from what I was reading. She said
I
lots of
I,
people.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, there are
But
some
that's
people
kind of
who get. I was gonna say
I would
there
say
are
it's
some
kind of
people who
crazy.
get no physical touch at all ever
Right.
because
That's
they are
what. Right. That's
alone.
what I was about to say. I was about to say. I think it's a lot of people lonely, and so there's something that needs to be filled. There's a niche that needs to be filled, and like you said, they probably weren't hurting for customers because if you don't have anybody, you're home every day playing your PlayStation, get a hug and go pay somebody to lay with them. I mean, I'm not paying anybody to lay with me, but
It's
that's
funny
all you
that you
get.
say
That's all you get that's all you get is a nap. You paying for a nap. That's it.
that.
Whoo!
Yes,
Ain't
that's
no happy
it.
nap ending. Ain't
No,
no happy nap ending. Nothing.
no. She
You just get
said
you just get
that
the
is not
spoon.
that's not part of the program. Just a cuddle.
See, that seems like going to Great Adventure, getting in line, and don't get on a roller coaster. Seems like a waste of time. Wait all this time to get on a roller coaster. It's like, I'm not gonna do it. That's just
No, if
gonna
you
cuddle.
haven't been touched in years, it might be worth it. Just to have
I
somebody,
don't think
put
so.
their arms around you and rub your back and you know,
And keep going.
no,
Keep going.
no.
I ain't been touching years, right?
Security.
That's exactly what happened.
Hi, honey. Sorry, I was having
Hey.
technical difficulties over here.
Oh, we have my BFF and your local registered nurse,
Oh God.
Tina Lee Boyer, here to join us
Okay.
for this important topic.
Okay.
Tina,
I'm glad I'm
Tina.
glad.
Hi,
Hello
Daryl.
there. Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I was here at 8 o'clock too.
Uh,
Just just wanted to put that out there.
Here he go. Here
it's
he go.
8:03. That's good for me.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, she is early.
I tell you, we got to dispel these rumors. It's color people time. We gotta do better, y'all. We gotta do better.
But my week has been pretty good. Not so busy. It's been pretty good. I'm,
Okay.
as you all can tell, I'm like almost 100% free of whatever was
You
going through my
sound good.
body.
You know what? I wonder if you and Alanya had the same kind of symptoms because she had a cough that lingered and it just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank
Right.
you.
It's only been 3 weeks.
I know, right? It was a long time.
But
It was
that's
a
how
long
long
time.
Alanya had that cough
Mhm.
ever since Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow. Colds
overnight,
are different.
woke up and it was
It's
gone.
gone.
And that's what the
Colds are built
doctor
different
said.
these days.
When I talked to her, she said, I forget what she called it. She said long-term viral cough or residual viral cough or something she called it.
Residual
And she said
cough.
it could be 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm like,
Yep.
what?
Yep. People are still coughing from like I have a few patients that had COVID in January that have a chronic
Right.
cough.
Right.
They're
Right. Right.
still
Yes, I did. I did hear that.
So it's continuous, unfortunately, for them.
How have you been, Miss Lee Boyer?
Been busy, honey, trying to get this Christmas. We got this new puppy. We have a new.
I saw the puppy. It's
Yes. Let me get her. Hold on.
This is not what the show is for. What is this? It's not puppy time. I don't know. This is a new segment we got, puppy time. Welcome to our new segment, puppy time.
That puppy is huge.
Say hi.
He looks like a stuffed animal.
So looks like a big live stuffed animal.
He is huge.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's called a golden doodle.
Okay.
Say hello.
Okay, puppy. What's she name him?
Lily.
Okay. Hey, Lily. Hi. All right,
Let's
guys.
get back on topic because
Okay. Bye, Lily.
The topic for tonight is how your childhood affects your relationships.
Wow.
Do you often find that you keep repeating patterns in your relationships over and over again? It's a different person, but everything seems the same.
Yep. I agree.
Because it's the same you.
Hey, yes, exactly.
And you keep meeting
Different
the
person.
same person over and over and over again.
Yes.
Well, you attract what. Yeah, I think we attract what we want. You know, we attract what we're looking for.
Yep.
So if we're toxic or have these negative things that we look for them. Even though we say we're not. I'm good. I want to be in a relationship. I want to find somebody who lies and cheats too. And that's what you're going to find.
Well, I think people are just looking for, women and men are looking for toxic characteristics. They're drawn to the same character and the same, like different people, but they have the same character. They all kind of resemble each other. Their behaviors are similar. And they're constantly, when you're born and raised in dysfunction, that's all you know.
Right.
Unless you seek treatment.
That's true.
Right.
Yes. So we know that our parents or caretakers play a critical role in shaping us, in shaping our lives.
A lot of times they model what we look for. We're looking for what we saw. That model in that home is what we're looking for. And sometimes we don't realize it. Almost unconsciously, we're looking for it. Like subconscious. It almost became a learned innate. Like we learned this, and now it's a learned innate. It's something that we just do. We look for these toxic characteristics in people, and it's crazy how we can sense them out. We can see them in the way they stand, they walk, they talk, they carry themselves, and you pick up on it.
And that's what you're going to. Yep. I 100%.
You know, your parents or caregivers are the first exposure that you have to how people are supposed to interact with each other.
Yep.
Right.
And how people are supposed to interact with you.
Yep.
So, like Tina said, if it's a toxic environment, or you're being neglected, or there's trauma you're being traumatized in the household, these are the things that you're going to exhibit and a lot of times attract to yourself.
That's right.
In your relationships.
That's right.
Even accept what we put up with is also learned. What we accept and put up with is also learned.
Yes. And you will think this is what it's supposed to be because it's what you saw, and you don't know any better.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yep. Yep.
And it's crazy because healthy feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
The songs.
It feels uncomfortable to be healthy.
Yep.
This person's not arguing with me. Something's wrong with them. They're not arguing. Yep. They're crazy. They're too nice.
I don't want that person. I want the person who argues with me and verbally abuses me. And That's
Right.
because that's what I saw my father do to my mother.
Right. And then maybe your friend's father or mother do to each other. And it gets reinforced in some of the homes that you visit because you see the same thing. Maybe some other people in your family also operate this way. So these negative things are reinforced sometimes throughout the family, so that it becomes like that's, like I said, that's really all I know, because most people around me are operating this way.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
And when you're right, Darrell, you know, it becomes comfortable. And even when people are in therapy, I hear that, you know, when you're trying to create these new healthy habits, there's discomfort.
Mhm.
It's this
Yes.
because it feels foreign to them.
Hmm.
And I always explain to people that, even as you're changing, when you go through stress or some negative emotions happen, you might revert back to what you know, because that's where you're
Absolutely.
comfortable.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's
So
comfortable.
you have to be vigilant
You
when
can't
you're
even
trying
be
to
at
make these
peace.
changes.
Yep. Yep. You
I,
can't
I,
even accept the peace. You
Yes.
want the trauma, the distress, and what is this peacefulness? This isn't right.
right.
Hmm.
I basically look at it as a relapse, right? And they said
Yes.
relapse is about 7 times. So
Mhm.
you're looking at about 7 times before you may get it, maybe even more. But pressure bust pipes. You revert back to what you know sometimes in a crisis situation. That's
Yeah.
what you know. That's the innate. That's just a natural occurrence. So you just revert back to that dysfunction when it comes to you sometimes.
Yes. 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 And even when you're changing, sometimes, you know, you may accept something that you think is lesser than what you're getting. Like, for example, I was talking to someone who was talking about how they used to be in a physically abusive relationship,
Hmm.
like real physical abuse, like getting beat up.
Oh.
And now the relationship they're in, the man cheats. He cheats on her, but and he's verbally abusive. I've seen that. He's emotionally abusive, but he's not beating her up.
Oh, listen,
So
she leveled up.
yes,
Mm.
yes,
She leveled up.
yes,
I'm not getting my head knocked off no more. So these things aren't that bad. I can accept this.
yes,
That's very interesting.
yes, yes.
It is
And
honest.
yeah, yeah. And that is the kind of environment that she was raised in. And you're right, she really thinks that she's leveled up.
Hmm.
So it
She
depends on
sounds
your
like
your
she,
translation of what
Hmm.
what's good and what's bad.
right. And I can see for her, this is better than I was
Better,
getting. This is
better.
better.
So I'm
It
just
Mhm.
gonna.
feels better,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm not getting spin kicks and wheel kicks anymore. Roundhouse and uppercuts. So so this is better. And if he's out cheating, he may not be home a lot either. So you know, and it's crazy. Like I said, she's settling and thinking she's getting better, but it's still the same. Abuse is abuse,
Abuse
verbal,
is
physical, whatever it is. Abuse
yes.
is abuse.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
sometimes they say an addiction, when you're trying to recover from one addiction, you replace that addiction with something else.
And
Mhm.
replacement theory is you got to replace things with something, right? The
Yes.
problem
Hey,
is,
Neil.
yeah, I thought you were folding gifts. How you typing? Yeah, but the thing is, it's okay to replace things. The problem is, like you said, people don't replacing it with something negative.
Hmm.
It's a negative thing, so that doesn't really help. You got to find a positive outlet. But again, like I said, where do you learn that at? If you're seeing these things growing up and you're not learning any positive things to do, then you're at a disadvantage as you get older, right? If your emotional intelligence is not fed at a young age, when you get older, you're at least I'm here. Then you're just very emotionally unavailable. You know what I mean? You're emotionally in a net due to never having it fully, I guess, nurtured correctly as you were growing up.
Mhm. And that is one of the things that is affected by your upbringing, your emotional intelligence.
Right.
That is definitely affected. We had a little list, of some of the things that are affected by your upbringing and that actually affect your relationships, and your ability to manage your emotions is one of them. If you
Absolutely.
come from a household where everything is an argument and a fight and people slamming doors and throwing things and you know tearing up the house, how are you going to manage it when you get mad? What are you going to do? You're going to do the same thing.
Right. Or even the reverse, where people are not talking. They're not talking. They're not engaging. They're just being separate. They don't face anything together. They don't see anything going on between them. That also helps you grow up to have, not being able to handle any situation. You don't learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I think it's good for kids to see some level of conflict.
Yes.
Because I think they need to, especially when it's conflict that's resolved positively.
Yes.
I think that's very important for them to learn. Because that's how you want to model your behavior, so that when they have a family and when they have a significant other or what have you, they know how to manage those emotions.
Yeah.
Right.
Because conflict is a natural occurrence. Everything is perfect. They need to understand conflict, but it's the resolution of that conflict that they focus on.
Right.
That's what they're to learn coping skills.
Yeah.
Right. Or even how it's handled, how you speak to each other when you're having a conflict, how you talk about it. Even if you do not, we'll say, resolve it, to understand you guys can both agree to disagree. Right. You can see that. Like, you know what? I don't agree with you. You don't agree with me. That's fine. Let's move on. That's also okay. They have to learn to do that as well. Right. Is that a puppy in the camera? We got to talk in the green room after this. We got a long conversation.
But yeah, that is right. Conflict resolution is something that you learn.
Absolutely. And it should be modeled. And we shouldn't try to hide everything from our children, right? We have to kind of expose them to real life. And as long as it's done in a positive manner, that's what you want. You want your kids to be able, because they're going, like she said, conflict is going to happen. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have arguments. These things are going to happen. But the thing is, how do you deal with them? How do you handle them? That's what's going to make the difference between that relationship and how you relate to anyone. So we need to have these real life things happen, but happen in a way that it should be positive.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I hear people say all the time, well, if we having an argument, we'll go close the doors, we'll go outside. I'm like, oh, that's fine if you're going to start throwing stuff and calling each other names.
Right. Like, what kind of argument you having? Goodness gracious. Y'all don't need to have that argument either.
Right. We can still hear
Oh, yeah. Kids hear all that. They feel
all of it.
I hate when as we get older, we forget that we were children once, and we forget how we were and how we, even when you didn't know we were in a room, we were in a room. Even, when you didn't know we were there, and we heard every word of everything you said. We saw everything, we heard, and we would act that way, right? Because that's what we would see, even if you didn't notice it. So, like, I know my daughter probably listening right now. She's somewhere right now listening, probably. That's how I think about it. Get her under that table. She ain't there, but I think she is, okay? So you just got to carry yourself in a way that, like, that you want to model the behavior you want your children to have, because that's you're actually watering that flower to grow, and as they get older, hopefully they'll take this and have it in their own relationship.
Yes, put that in their arsenal of coping skills.
Yes,
absolutely.
He had an argument, but I noticed the next day they were sitting down and they were talking calmly. You know what I mean? Everything doesn't have to continue. You don't have to do the silent treatment. You can communicate, but I think it's better sometimes to take that space, take a step back, give yourself some time to process what happened, and then talk when both of you guys are a bit calmer and more level-headed. And I'm speaking 100% from experience.
I was about to go there myself, because I thought that every argument had a finish and had a start now and finish, whenever it got done. Even if it was 12 hours later, we're going to keep this going. And you can't leave the room. You're going to miss work for this argument. And you better call out sick today. We ain't finished. But I definitely had to learn, that it's okay to walk away. It's okay to get your head together. If the person needs time, give them time. Because you don't want it to turn into you
don't want to say, you're going to hear things you don't want to hear.
Right. Or you don't want to just be preaching at the person. You want it to turn into you just up there just talking. And they're like, they done tuned out an hour ago. Like, it ain't heard nothing you said. So it ain't working anyway. You just talking to hear yourself talk. So it has to be effective. So I had to learn that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I should think about it.
Yes, Neil. Yes. Letting them know that, arguments happen, but we're going to talk about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other side of parenting when you're raising a kid and you take everything away from them. So they're never, ever even involved in conflict. They can't even fall because you're helicoptering over them. And you're disabling that child as they grow up because you've been there for everything.
Equipping them with any coping skill.
None at all.
Functional one. You're not equipping them. Conflict happens not only in family, it happens in school, it happens in the playground, it happens everywhere. And I think they should learn healthy ways of dealing with that conflict.
Absolutely. And I see that's a big thing today, that kids don't know how to deal with conflict.
No,
yes.
they shoot each other. They take each other's lives just because they don't know how to function with, in a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I looked at some studies. I looked at some studies that showed, especially in Black men, that the rate of us taking our own lives is up about 80% in the last 20 years. Right. We are, everything we're dealing with, people can't deal with it.
Yeah.
They don't have the tools. And they said in adolescence, they're talking about from 5 to 20.
They're not equipped.
They're just, taking their lives at a high rate. And it's such a shame, but because we're not giving we're not giving them in their toolkit things to handle these situations.
Exactly.
And what we are giving them is, you better not go to doctors because that makes you weak. Mental health, we're talking about that make you weak. So we're just giving them everything to not help them, to lead them down this path. It's really upsetting.
And don't tell nobody our business.
What happens here stays here.
Yes, that's a big one.
Oh gosh. Doghouse again. Wait a minute. It sounds like mom is the problem in that one. Whoever wrote that. Oh, Ruth. I didn't read. I didn't know that was Ruth. I'm sorry, Ruth. It wasn't you.
But yeah, when you create these closed systems, people don't get help.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And even the systems they were talking about, with the way they look at especially men of color in mental health, they downplay it a lot. They don't give it the credence that it should. And then so the people don't get the help, even if they go to look for help, they're not really given the help that they need, because they're not looked at as, you're okay.
And
you're okay. You're right.
Available to them.
Or it's not available.
It should be introduced to them in elementary, just like Carrie's new book. That's phenomenal, because now I think that should be added to the curriculum in every elementary school.
Well, they're taking all everything with Black out of schools. Everything with Black is getting taken out of schools today.
People should donate.
Another problem.
I would be willing to donate that book to some of the neighborhood elementary schools and to I would be willing to buy it and donate it, because I think it's such a good tool. Depression is rampant in the African American household, and kids should understand that mommy's not always going to be happy. Mommy's not all the way. She may be sad all the time, and understand why she's sad is important.
And the problem is, mommy doesn't understand why she's always sad.
Yes.
Mommy doesn't understand, why she's not okay. Mommy doesn't understand why the kids are getting on my nerves more today than they did yesterday. Again, this is a cycle that is passed down through generations.
Excellent point.
Hey, princess.
You talk smack about me bringing my puppy in.
Yeah.
Beautiful little lady.
See, this is a regular visitor. It's a regular.
Beautiful.
See, I don't have a choice, she said. Um,
But yes, when you create these closed systems in the home where you won't let other people come in, you won't
right.
get any information. And so if you don't know, how can you pass that down to your kids? You don't know, they don't
Right.
know. We all in here not knowing.
Yep.
Right. Not knowing, and you don't want to feel inadequate, right? You want to feel like I know my kids. You don't need nobody coming here and tell me about my kids. I know them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason, because I know a lot of times I offer a lot of people help with, maybe getting their kids some services, counseling, things of that nature, because I think it's just tough, especially in some of the areas I work in. Just the kids going to school is tough. Worrying about somebody trying to take your sneakers, you getting beat up, you having maybe these choices of either you get down or lay down. These things are every day for some of these kids.
Yep.
They may need something to talk to. And there's some free services. Like, look, this is a free service. They'll come out. No, we don't need that. They good. They good.
That is fantastic. But more kids need to know about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like elementaries need to make that accessible to the kids. Like I was a school nurse for a very short period of time, for about a year. And the unfortunate thing is I would see these kids. Like I would know that, I had one girl, she would come in the morning and she would never have breakfast. And I would say, well, where's mom? She was like, oh, she was arguing with my dad. I didn't even see either of them this morning. So you mean to tell me you got up and dressed and got yourself together and to school by yourself? And we're talking about elementary. She was in like the 3rd grade.
Oh yeah, but these kids at that point, they're grown. In 3rd grade, they're parentified. They can take care of their brothers and sisters. They adapted to the point where they know
school is an escape, so they want to get up and go.
Oh, absolutely. I'm on the way to school every day. They come there and don't do. Some kids that go to school and don't do anything. They just go there to go.
Yeah.
It's just to get away from the home.
Stay with me in the nursing office. Oh my God.
Right, because when someone cares and they're showing you something different, it's attracted to them. It's very attractive to them.
Yep.
So they'll come and do that.
Flyers, and every morning she was hungry. I would have a hot breakfast sitting there waiting for her.
I would be there every morning too. Then where you work at?
Used to be a school nurse. I couldn't.
I'm going to school.
A lot of it, and I used to be a child psych nurse, so I've seen, the better of. I've seen the worst of the two. I've seen the results of a dysfunctional house. I've seen little kids. I was a charge nurse on an adolescent unit for about 6 years, and I would see kids and adolescents. So I would see, unfortunately, the damage. Like one little girl, I would pull her behind the nurse's station and do her hair every day. Well, not every day, but when I would see them come, their hair was a mess. Their whole demeanor would change. Why? Because someone showed them love.
Yeah.
Right. And think about what that does for yourself.
Exactly.
When you get your hair done and looks good, and
it's
people are complimenting on it.
I actually look pretty. Somebody cared enough to make me look pretty, and I was beautiful. Look at you.
Absolutely.
You look gorgeous, and the smiles.
And it's so crazy because it's not like it's something. It's big for them, but it's not like extremely something that takes a lot to do. But for them, it means the world. It can mean the world. It can change someone. Just because that interaction you're having them.
Yep. Yeah. You are absolutely correct. That one-to-one interaction, and I would go. I had beads and stuff in my desk. I would whenever you want me to do your hair, and I'm not the best.
Right.
I've been getting my hair done since junior high.
Gotcha.
But I would take the time to just put a couple bows in there, brush it, make them feel nice. And then when I would see the family and the mom and dad are sitting there arguing, and it escalates to the point where we have to call security. Here, and I would take the child out. As soon as it started, I would be like, "Come on, let's go." And I would sit there and say, "Do you understand what you just witnessed? Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think that's a good way to talk to each other, or not so good way?" You know what I mean? I would try to use that time to help them to understand what was going on. Like, mommy and daddy are having, a disagreement right now, but how does that make you feel?
Right.
You're not the cause of it. Let's establish that. So I would try to take that time and sit there and try to, communicate that with them as best I could. You know what I mean?
That's good, right?
I'm
Because they
not
go
saying
home,
my bestie.
they go right home to that environment again, and
Yes.
it's just almost normal. It's almost normal, right? It's just like,
Yep.
oh,
It is normal, not almost.
That's
It's normal.
that's
It's
what they
normal.
do.
But
That's
Yeah,
what they
it's
do.
trying to sit there and explain to the child, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
This is not a good way to communicate. This is not a very. This is the opposite of good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It is not because of you. You are a fantastic child. You are smart. You are bright. You are beautiful.
Yes, I
Which
am.
is
Thank
nice
you.
because they probably been
Hey,
called
we got
many
Yep.
of the opposite at
I
home.
mean,
a
I would get so many letters asking for me to adopt them, and at the time, I ain't had no kids.
Oh my
I wouldn't
gosh.
adopt nobody. I'm just saying.
right.
But just because I showed them a little bit of love and just, gave them that positive reinforcement that you're okay. This is
Right.
not because of you.
So,
Go ahead. Sorry.
and that also is how our kids get in trouble as well, because that same positive love you showed with nothing in return, some people can use that now to get these kids to do things, right? This is how some of the kids get into things like prostitution, things of that nature. They're shown love, or in gangs, I'm showing you love, but can you do this for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Can you do this? You know I love you. Can you do this?
Yeah.
And since you're getting some form of what you feel, it feels good, you'll do these things or get into these things that you shouldn't, or get in situations that you shouldn't be in, because people are now using this love word to control you because you don't know what it is, and it kind of feels good because they're giving you compliments and, like I said, doing things for you, maybe give you a couple of dollars, get your hair done. Like they gotta love me. They gotta love me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
And it's not talked about. Sometimes these, parents don't talk enough to their children about these type of things as well.
Absolutely.
How people can use even love to
Yep.
try to get you.
And
Right.
unfortunately,
We always talk about the negatives.
they don't. Unfortunately, they
Right.
don't know.
Right.
So,
Right,
and
Ruth.
we're mental health, professionals. We understand what's occurring. You know what I mean? I've been a mental health nurse for over 20 years.
Right.
So, you understand. But unfortunately, some of these other parents, they don't even know what they're experiencing.
Absolutely.
They don't even know the dysfunction that they're exposing their children to. They don't even know that they are exposing their kids to dysfunction.
Right.
They
Like
just
I said,
know
generational.
what they've learned from their dysfunctional parents.
Absolutely.
And I try to remind parents all the time that you are the model. So when you start acting in a certain way or saying certain things, I think you should probably take a step back first before you say it or do it, and think to yourself: Do I want my child to model this behavior?
Yes.
See, now, I don't know if you could do that, because again, if this is what I feel is okay, like you little, if I'm used to talking to you that way, and I grew up that way, and I feel like I turned out okay, then yes, it's okay for me to talk that way.
But these are people in therapy, Darrell, that I'm talking about.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right,
Yeah, these are people in therapy.
Okay, yeah. All right. Now, what session? What session do you ask this question? Because the first two, they might be like, yeah, I'm supposed to talk that way. God damn it! What you mean? Little bitch, she a little bitch. What you mean? She acting like a little bitch. My mom said I was a bitch. I'm her little bitch.
Yes. So, and now it depends on what session, because sometimes people like really hold on to that stuff.
Right.
It may take some convincing for them to realize that, yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do.
That's not the best way, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I know some people personally that say they're in therapy and got psychologists, and every time they get mad, they can do the same thing again.
They don't go and they don't learn.
I'm like, dude, can I talk to them for you? Can I tell them that? Because I don't know if you telling them the full truth, because it ain't really working. Because you're telling me you better. As soon as something go wrong, like get back, right back to the same thing.
Or they're going and they're just not taking in what they're being taught. They're not 100% invested in a better person. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not learning or they're not participating. They may not be comprehending.
Right.
Or they're not really fully participating, like you said. Because I don't know how many times I get on the session and say, hey, did you do the homework? And they be like,
See, but Right. So that's the thing. I need to ask people, do you got homework? Because a lot of times I'm like, what are you getting from, what are you doing? What are you putting anything to use? Like, how are you getting to this point? Because if they ain't got no homework, then if you ain't working it, then you're just going to listen to somebody talk. A lot of people think that the therapist is the one that's doing the work. The therapist is going to change you. I'm going here so this person can change me. They don't understand. No, you're getting work to change yourself. You're going to do the work. I'm the teacher. I'm gonna give you the assignments. You're gonna do the work. I'm gonna grade it. That's how it's gonna be. But people don't know that. They don't even know what therapy is. You know, they think they're gonna sit. You know, you think about from TV. You just sit on the couch and you lay down and somebody talks to you and you talk about your feelings. It's work involved. You know, it's definitely work involved.
I mean, you can't change behaviors that you've been doing for 10, 20, 30 years without actually doing some new behavior practice. You can't.
And understanding why those behaviors are not good. You have to, I mean, there's several, you know, I've had a therapist for years and I have a bestie that's a therapist. I need it. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But that has helped me to evolve into the woman I am today. Letting a lot of the baggage go from childhood. My mother abandoned me at 2. So I've always had abandonment issues, but I sought treatment. Sorry, that's my cat. So I've always sought treatment.
Animal House.
You know, yes.
Why am I saying
at least your cat got fur.
Move, Fluffy.
At least your cat has fur.
Yeah.
I think that was a shock.
I know. Talk about my Pharaoh.
She got a butt naked cat running around.
But he to fly his butt naked cat out there.
Yeah. Well, we gotta blur the screen out when he walk by. We gotta blur the screen out. Yeah, the naked cat's walking by. There's kids watching the show.
Pharaoh alone. I like Pharaoh alone. But it is true. I mean, if I didn't seek treatment, if it wasn't something that was encouraged, and even when I grew up, my dad would say the same, like, whatever stays in this house, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. And I say, Dad, I have to talk to someone. You know what I mean? I see that I'm developing really bad dysfunctional behavior. You know what I mean? And my dad was an alcoholic. My mother, you know, abandoned me at 2. So my upbringing was a little rocky.
Right.
So I sought treatment because I wanted to be a better person. You know,
and
when I was exposed to the field of nursing, I learned that, oh, wow, you know, by seeing other people. So this is putting 2 and 2 together. But that's because of the 6 years of education. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's because of the books that I've read and the learning I put into understanding. You know, I read several books on abandonment, childhood abandonment, and coping skills. I put the work in to be a better person. You know what I mean? But you have to be willing to do the work.
Right. Absolutely. And you have to be willing to change the way you think.
Yes.
You have to be willing. Because if you think that everybody is a punk or soft because they want to talk to somebody or talk about their feelings,
so be it.
You can't change thinking that.
Right.
You can't change thinking.
Right. And you can't change hiding your therapy almost, right? You can't just do it by yourself.
You have to put the work
in. And that's why it was tough for me in the beginning too to talk about therapy and things to my boys, like, we ain't, you know, but now it's like, nah, bro, like, hey, bro, you get better this way. And we can have these conversations, you know, it definitely helps. And I usually started off like saying just all the stuff that we do as Black men alone, just what we see day to day is enough stress.
Yes.
It's tough. And you don't even know it's weighing on you. You don't even know you're carrying around this. So you start talking, then you're crying, like, why am I crying in here? Like, what is going on? I don't know. You know, and the stuff starts coming out, but you start feeling better. You know, I don't tell them about the crying part. We're gonna erase that part. We're gonna take that out. That didn't happen. We're gonna erase that part.
And you know, I am happy to see that a lot of men, especially men of color, are coming into therapy. And you know, I'm one person. I can't take everyone, but when I see that it is a male, I take him because I know it was hard enough for them to make that step.
Oh, you know how hard it probably was for them to get there? and how long they've probably been contemplating it, and they couldn't talk to anybody about it, and it took a lot for them to get there.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot.
I know.
And then even on top of, just think about when I started thinking about going, then I didn't know where to go, because I can't, who am I talk to about it, and where to service. And then too, for me, it was, I felt like I had to be with someone of color. I just felt that way. I don't know if that was.
A lot of people feel that way.
But I felt that way. Yeah,
a lot of people of color feel that way.
Right, because I'm like, I didn't feel, I had to do therapy once for PTSD from a job I had where these kids try to do some crazy stuff to us. But I didn't feel like a connection with the white therapist. I didn't feel she understood where I was coming from.
Who you feel comfortable with. That's
right. It's like we were talking different languages, and it didn't seem like she was connecting the dots to truly what I was saying. She couldn't get truly what I was saying. And I said, I'm truly not coming back here again. This isn't working for us. It's not working for us. Yeah, not working for us.
And cultural competence is so important. But even with cultural competence, sometimes people just need to feel like they need to sit across from someone who looks like them and may have had some of the same experiences.
Right.
So,
and like I said, that's okay. That's okay. You got to do what you have to do to get your healing. Whatever your healing is, you have to find the best healing for yourself.
Agreed.
That's going to determine your success in healing.
Right.
The therapeutic relationship is the number one. The number one thing in therapy that determines whether or not you're going to be successful.
You got it. You got it.
So it's important that you be with someone you're comfortable with.
That's right.
Right.
Because how do you build a working relationship with somebody that you don't feel comfortable with?
Right. You need that trust. To gain trust, you have to be able to feel vulnerable in a situation.
Yep.
And I can't sit across from someone where I kind of feel like, I don't really feel like you're really, I almost feel like you're judging me a little bit. You're not really.
But that takes emotional intelligence to even know that I'm not connecting with you, and I'm not really feeling like you're helping me. Let me find someone else that I can talk to.
Absolutely.
That shows you.
Yeah, and it takes communication skills, because some people, they'll just abandon the therapy as opposed to talking about it and saying, I'm not comfortable here.
Yep.
I'm going to go see somebody else.
Yep.
That's the problem we have too. We did it once and that was it. It didn't work out. I tried it. The fuck? I went, bitch. I'm still angry. It ain't working.
Therapy don't work. That's the conclusion they come to. Therapy don't work.
I went to your little therapy sessions. Didn't work.
Yes.
This ain't working.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's absolute, but it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to do that. So that was very brave of you. I commend you for that. To even acknowledge this is not working for me, and I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time.
Right. Nor do I want to waste this little copay either. This copay I'm paying, nothing. I can't keep coming out the pocket like this.
That's a great idea, Neil. Yes. Giving therapy sessions as gifts to get them started.
Love that.
Yes.
Love that.
Giving young needy males a few sessions as gifts to get them started. Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder, like, I used to, one of my best friends, she's a nurse too. She had a grant where we would go into the school.
You only got one best friend. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to say nothing.
My bad.
I'm like, damn. I was like, damn, doctor, this is her best friend. She's talking about she got another best friend.
I have a good friend. This is my bestie.
Next show, best friends are not.
30 years. What'd you say?
Our next show will be about who your real best friends are not.
Hey,
you trying to have a Maury kind of show?
When you think y'all best friends and they don't.
See, that's not right.
Jerry Springer,
right.
here we come.
Hey, you let him talk enough. Let him talk long enough. The truth come out.
So one of my other good friends, she developed a grant, and what we would do is we would go out. Listen,
I'm listening.
I can't give the middle finger on here, right?
Go ahead, you can give it. Oh man.
We had to put up this is not a kid zone.
Yes, disclaimer.
Yeah.
So, but what we would do, we would teach. There were kids who had behavioral issues. Like it was a program they had it within the school, designed for the kids who had behavioral issues. And what I would do is she developed a grant for us to go out and teach them, teach them about mental health and teach them how to understand some of their behaviors. We had a lot of conduct disorder. Like we had a lot of conduct disorder. And I would be the only nurse. When I see the kids acting out, like I would get involved. And I probably shouldn't have. But if I saw a kid under the desk, I'm a psych nurse. I clicked into psych nurse mode and I was like, what's wrong? You want to talk? Nobody ever listens to me. Well, I want to listen to you. Come on, let's talk. And I would sit there and talk to them. And it was it was grant funded. And it was such an excellent program, and it paid like $200 an hour. But it was such an excellent program. I thought it was really great. And then I would play like educational Build-A-Man, because you can't play Hangman. But it was like Hangman, reverse.
Can't play Hangman.
Build-A-Man.
Okay.
Build-A-Man. So we would put the head up, the body, and we would, instead of hanging a man, we would build a man. But they understand like terminology and medications. They would understand how to do sessions on ADHD, because we had a lot of kids who had ADHD. I would do a lot of educational programs on depression and mood. And at the end, they would win prizes. Like I would go to the dollar store, ball out and like $40. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
And
because they're not used to getting anything anyway. So yes. It'd be nice to have them get something.
Stuff, but they would learn, because at the end we would play Build-A-Man. After I did the lesson and we talked about it, at the end we would play Build-A-Man and they would win prizes. And they were so into it. Like they would understand what ADHD was. What is it? What does it mean? Does it mean that you respond slowly, or does it mean that you respond fast? You know what I mean? Like I would teach them things.
Something you're diagnosed with that don't really mean nothing to most kids. They put it on them. They
don't understand. They don't even know what it is. So
it's crazy.
They kind of educate them, using that psych nurse background. And I really enjoyed it. But you would see how the dysfunction kind of trickled down.
They were talking about that as well, where the conduct that may have been more, I don't know, one doctor was saying it might have been some type of mental health, but they're just sending kids home. They're suspending them for it instead of addressing the issues. It's also a problem they were having.
See those things, that's not supposed to be sent home. That's supposed to be formulated in an IEP. Which is, something that teaches them and gets them the help that's necessary. Be that as it may, if it's mental health, then that should be included in their, I forget what that's called. Is it called a 549 plan, or I know it's an IEP, but it's something, that the nurses initiate when they detect that kind of behavior as well. And that sets the balls in motion for them to get the mental health care.
And one of the problems with that too is when they get the assessment, a lot of times the persons doing the assessments don't even ask about the home life. And they give a diagnosis like conduct disorder without taking in consideration that the child might be experiencing trauma or abuse or neglect or, any of these things that are causing them to act the way that they act in school. They just give them that diagnosis. Conduct disorder diagnosis, those hardcore ODD diagnoses. Right. Yes.
No, define it.
And it's very interesting that this usually happens in certain schools, in certain areas, where they don't really give these evaluations the full assessment that's needed.
No.
Where you can kind of almost assume in some of these neighborhoods that these kids may be dealing with some of these things. They don't take that into account. Again, it's that pipeline to dysfunction, right to jail or emotional incompetence. It doesn't allow these kids to fully grow. They're stunning their growth, and this is the system. This is systematically being done to hurt this population of kids. It really is, to be honest, if we want to talk.
It is. It sets them up for failure. Now,
Right.
an IEP or something on that lines could benefit the child, but unfortunately, what they wind up doing is referring them for mental health treatment. They wind up giving them a medication, and now, you know what I mean? And that's like a recipe for failure. Instead of taking the time to help this child develop healthy coping skills, it's just treated with medication, and I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, like
Well,
if they see the ADHD, that now we're prescribing Ritalin, now we're prescribing what are some of the other ADHD medications?
Concerta,
Adderall and
like that. So now
yeah.
families are extended even further, because if they don't have medical insurance, how are they going to pay for this?
Well, see, the real problem is parents usually are on board with these type of things because now I can go get that SSI, SSD, or whatever the case may be, right? So I need these diagnoses because I'm not working. It's been passed down. Welfare is 5 years. That may be caught up to me. But if I get my kids SSD or SSI, that's until, they reassess. Yeah, it could be forever. So that's the hustle that I see people doing too, which allows this to happen as well, because the doctors don't care because I get prescribed medicine. I might get a little kickback from this medicine I'm given, or the medical company's getting money. It's just, and these kids are just losing.
Easy fix.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it's not. Sometimes it's not even it's not a fix, because a lot of times it's not even what the kids need, right? Because in the programs I worked in, the kids, as soon as they came in, they gave them Abilify, I think it was.
Abilify.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the first thing they gave them when they came in. Not even assessing their baseline or anything. They were giving that when they came in, right? And a lot of kids came into the program because parents were like, oh, they don't listen. Like they would, it would be nothing, but he doesn't listen and he doesn't do this. And the normal stuff kids do. Like, he don't sit still.
Yes.
Nobody sits still. Like, what are we talking about? But the first thing, they put them on Abilify and put them in this program, which lasted, I think we were it was a 90-day program, maybe extended to 4 months. But at this point, the kids would get 2 hours of education, and the rest of the day would be groups, groups on behavior and things of that nature. But I'm like, these kids are falling behind because you're only getting 2 hours of education. That's everything: math, reading, science in 2 hours. They give them some dittos to do and things of that nature. But I just saw these kids decline, and most of them didn't really, to me, have any real. I may have saw 2 kids in this program. I thought in the couple of years I was there that medicine might have been needed. Right, the rest of the kids were just regular kids who just acted up sometimes, but they would listen if you told them what to do. So, but then they started mimicking some of the other kids' behavior because they said other kids doing it, away with it.
That's
They
another
started mimicking it. So now you created a problem.
Right.
It wasn't there when the kids came in, but a month and a half in, they start to mimic what the other kids are doing. Now they became a problem because they saw, well, this is what we can do. And that was the worst part about it. I'm like, wow.
Oh my God. I used to ask my dad, I'm like, Dad, why didn't you put me in a mental institution? He was like, I didn't want you learning that foolishness.
Right.
I can see your dad saying that.
Yes, he was an alcoholic, but
How much you learning this?
He was a teacher for over 30 years in the public school system.
Gotcha.
So
Right.
He was like a weekend warrior. He would drink on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, best believe, he was in the books, and whether I liked it or not, I was in those books. So, so he did the best he could. You know what I mean?
Right.
Best he could. And being a single father, he had sisters. They were all dysfunctional too, but he did his best, and I can't condone it for that. My dad, he was a fantastic man. He tried to be a father to all of the fatherless nieces and nephews he had.
Gotcha.
Which was exhausting because he was the only male. He was one of the only male presence. He was the only male presence in the family, so everybody went to him. So I shared with my dad with everyone, and I loved it. I mean, I wanted my dad to be loved by everyone and everyone to benefit from what I got. I just wish they got some of the beatings that I got. But
But some of the values that you learn because of that,
yes.
you know, responsibility, the importance of community.
Yep.
Beatings
Being
don't show values.
huh?
What?
Beatings don't show value. What are you talking about?
I wasn't talking about the beatings. I'm talking about her
Oh,
father
okay.
taking on that role.
Yes, he took
She
on that
learned a
role.
lot of good values
I did.
that are
Right.
I don't want to say useful, but they're important to relationships. They're
Right.
important to relationships.
Well,
And with
something she
therapy,
said that I want to take away that I think a lot of these parents are doing the best they can.
I
They
think-
really believe they're doing
but
the
I don't
best they
think
can.
know- but I don't think that they know that there's help out there. I think
No,
that
that's what I mean. That's exactly why they're doing the best that they can. This is what I know. This is what I saw growing up. It worked for me. I'm giving the kids the best that I can. This is all I know. I don't know anything more, right? I don't even know.
Yep.
I don't even know where to get help because I don't know there's nothing I'm doing wrong. I'm not looking for nothing because I don't know I'm doing nothing wrong. You know, a lot of times when we talk to these parents, we'll see them, right? They'll do something like, you know, you maybe spank your kid, but you hit them with a pipe. I mean,
Right.
a pipe? Well, that's what I grew up. And you talk these other ways to do it. They're like, oh, then the light may come on. But before that, the pipe was the way to go. So that's what they know, which is, and so you can't, I don't necessarily look at people as bad.
It's learned dysfunction.
Right. It's ignorance. Like, this is all you know. Right. And you're,
what I would say is this, you know, it was learned behavior. They don't even, and some people to this day don't even understand that they learned dysfunction. They just know this is the way,
right.
this is the way we did it. This is how I'm going to do it with my child. You know what I mean? It took me, when I had my daughter, to seek treatment to try to break out of those habits. Like, I don't want to respond to her by spanking her. I don't want to respond by knocking her upside her head. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had to seek the care necessary to stop myself, to learn to take a 10-minute time out.
Right.
And my bestie, who's my child's godmother, by the way, helped me to establish those healthy habits, because I would want to pop. My instinct was to pop her.
Right.
And I had to break myself out of that, because I remember how did that help me? No. So how is it going to help her?
Right.
Nope.
But see, I'm the opposite, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna do the total opposite of what I saw growing up. So now I'm just a pushover. So I need to learn a little balance.
Yes, there has to be balance.
Yeah,
yes.
Gotta be balanced. I'm all the way left. You might be all the way right. I'm all the way left. I'm like, what you want? You want a pony? I think we can fit one in the yard. Yeah, we'll get one. You know, it's terrible. I can't say no. I think no. I just can't say it. I'm like, no, yes.
But then, you know, doing that is not right either.
Right.
That's not
right. That's why I said you got to learn balance.
Yes, that overindulgent.
Yes.
Overindulgence. Yes.
Do that.
That teaches its own whole set of things.
It teaches entitlement.
It does.
I didn't get. You said no. So
she lose her mind if I say no.
That.
Lose her mind. But I mean, and some of it I think is selfish, because I want to give her everything I didn't have either. So you know, she's like, I want to hover. Yes. She's like, I want a hoverboard. I'm like, yeah, I want a hoverboard. We want a hoverboard. So we're gonna get a hoverboard. Okay.
Yes, there is a thin line. Yes.
Yes. Hi, Ruth.
Right.
Yeah. Drake, don't talk about Drake like that.
But yes, I agree.
But yeah, you can't be a pushover and
right.
You can't.
Happy medium.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
But we haven't
when
haven't
you're
learned
a pushover,
happy medium.
now
Everything's extreme.
You're not teaching some other things. You know, you want to foster power and independence in your children. That's what you want to do. You want to foster power and independence, but you don't want to foster entitlement. I guess that was the good word.
Well, you know, that's exactly what it is. Because again, she independent, but her hand in my pocket.
Yes.
Okay, she independent like a mug, but the hand in my pocket.
But you know
I don't see her till she needs something.
it's hard too because you're an African American father and you want the best for your princess. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You want her to be able to come to daddy. You know what I mean? Whenever she needs something, you know what I mean? So that's not necessarily fostering, all negative.
No,
It's
no, it is negative. They're not saying no is a negative.
Right.
They're not saying no is negative.
Right. Daddy,
She ain't heard no in 9 years. She's 9 years old.
yes. So it's fine.
But you're teaching. You are the model for how she should be treated by men. So
It's
right,
nothing wrong
right.
with it. But the reality is, all men aren't going to give her everything that she wants.
no, not at all.
They don't.
Well, no. So, this is the point. Then that's the one she don't want to talk to. Leave him alone. She's learning. I'm teaching her how to be taught. This is how you should be taken care of.
But that's not necessarily good either, because when they tell her no to something, she's not going to know how to respond.
She is. She's gonna leave.
She's gonna go ask her dad. She's gonna go ask her dad.
She's gonna leave. She's gonna leave.
Good.
Hey, he ain't good if he can't give her what she needs. Hey, he ain't good if he can't give her what she needs. What you mean?
No. It's a difference between need and want.
Hey, I don't know. Thin line between need and want. And she gonna need him to get it, or she gonna want to leave. Okay.
And that's wrong. It's nothing wrong with a dad wanting his daughter to have everything that she dreams of, but you
not
also
at all.
Not at all. Know that all men aren't going to give you everything that you ask for. That's not reality. I'm your dad. I will, because you're my heart. You're my princess. I love you. But the reality
and if they can't treat you like daddy do, you don't need them, boo boo.
That's a setup too, because all men aren't going to treat her.
Hey, I'd rather have her set up getting everything she wants than be with somebody who can't.
Listen, her husband's gonna.
We already know Neil is right. Darrell ain't letting anybody near her.
Yeah, I'm blaming you.
Listen, we don't need him. I got you. Whatever she needs, I got it.
Listen.
So what are you teaching her about commitment, Darrell?
Commitment. What you mean? She a prize, and they need to work hard for her.
But what are you showing her?
Okay.
Huh? What do I show her?
Yeah.
I show her what a great. No, not at all. See my face? So, but we all know why. You know why. But when we talk about commitment things with boys and all that type of stuff, I just told her, find someone that, first of all, that you can talk to, communicate, that you can definitely be yourself with, right? That's the first thing. You can be yourself. If you have to feel like you can't be yourself around them, you can't talk, you have to hide things, and that's not where you want to be at.
That's right.
So right now, what I really show her right now, it's not so much more commitment, it's how we respond to each other, how we talk, how if something goes on, we can sit down and talk. There's no yelling. Nobody's yelling at each other. I would never yell at her, raise my voice. She hasn't really seen anything like that. Or even if I'm having this disagreement with someone around me, she sees how I'll talk to them. If they're here, then I'll try to bring it here. Like, hey, and if we can't, then we're in that conversation. Like we don't have any negative, like real abusive arguments. Like I said, we're gonna have arguments.
Yes.
Right. We disagree all the time. She get mad every day over something. It's cool. I don't argue with her. If she knows she do something wrong, hey, sit that phone right here. That's you're gonna lose your phone, and that's her life right now. This kid's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's her life.
God.
I told her I was going to take off TikTok on her phone. I thought she was going to die. I thought she got the Holy Ghost. I couldn't believe it. Like, God. But she doesn't know she has to accept consequences. She is allowed to always voice her opinion one time, and then after that, if my...
Wait, did you hit it one time?
Absolutely. Because at this point, she's not old enough to go back and forth with any adult. I do want to hear what you have to say, but if whatever I say didn't change, then that's what it is. We're not going to have a debate where we're going back and forth because we're not peers. We're not on the same level. But I am giving you a chance to voice your opinion. I want to hear what you want to say. I'm not going to mute you or shut you out you do exist, but we're not going to go back and forth about it. So you do have one time to say, whatever it is on your heart, or why you disagree, or why you may feel otherwise, or whatever the case may be. But that's it, and that's how she has to operate in school as well, with friends, teachers, things of that nature.
I think that's fantastic.
That is.
But again, that's through going through therapy, getting counseling,
Absolutely.
parenting classes. All these things helped. Because I wouldn't be, my toolbox wouldn't have these things if I didn't go seek this the knowledge to help.
That's the thing. I think, if kids and parents understand behavioral health treatment as like, take it the same as you take, taking
physical health treatment.
Physical.
Yes.
It should be something that they're exposed to. You know what I mean? I think that would help the family and the child tremendously. But it's such a lack of knowledge in the inner city and in the inner city schools.
I agree. And take the
stigma.
The stigma, yes. Take the stigma out of mental health treatment.
Absolutely, because it's such a positive. I mean, I have grown so much by seeking out, you know what I mean, therapeutic care.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think so many kids and families could benefit from maybe just one family counseling session. You know what I mean? That could grow into individualized therapy, family care, family treatment. But I think it's such a, unfortunately, I don't think people take behavioral health as important as their physical.
No, they don't. Matter of fact, if you have whatever it costs to get to have a session, and it's the same price as getting your nails or hair done, people gonna get their nails and hair done.
Absolutely.
Or get a haircut. They're not gonna go to a session.
Right.
But
so it's not as important as most other things in your life.
I agree.
It's a luxury for some people.
It's a luxury.
Right.
Yeah, and it's always seen as a luxury. Oh, you see that? Oh, you must have money. No, that's not the truth. It's covered by most insurances.
Yes.
But people don't know.
Well, I think because we don't see the results of therapy sometimes. We don't know that person who may be dealing with things well or has a positive relationship. We may not have known they went to therapy to get there. So we just know, when our nails get done, we see people, oh girl, your nails look good, or your hair looks good. You get that right there. You get that positive reinforcement right there from whatever you're doing. But therapy, no one talks about it. So you don't know that person is whole because they got help. You just think they got it together. Right. So when we start talking, they're like, well, I was in therapy for 5 years and I'm still, what? You? Yes. And I'm still in therapy. If more people talked about it and made it something that was more common, I think people may now go, instead of spending money on their nails, they may budget this session in two.
They'll recognize the importance because they see one person who was like this, and now they see that person that's like, wow, what did you do? You've changed so much.
So much, right? And even like you said, and if they learn that it's insurance, and it's only a copay, maybe of $15, people don't know that either. Exactly. You know what I mean? People don't know that either. Like you said, but are you rich?
$20 if you go for a follow-up visit with your primary care physician.
Same right.
Yes.
Right.
It's not more. Some insurances is $30, $35. If you see a specialist, it's $50.
Right.
So you're not paying any different, you know what I mean? And in essence, it's helping you not only physically, but mentally.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's going to stop you from getting your ass kicked that night.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't even understand the connection between mental and physical health. Because a lot of times if you get your mental health treated, it helps with your physical health.
Absolutely.
And this is why education is important. These type of programs are important to connect those dots. To say, hey, listen, maybe that your stomach bothering you is because you're stressed out. If you got rid of the stress, that would stop the stomach from hurting and you would feel better. Right. It starts from your head to your gut to your feeling better. But people don't know that sometimes,
Every child says, oh, my tummy hurts as a wherewithal for everything. I have to sit there and figure out, okay, your tummy hurts. Okay. Let's start A to Z, and you know what I mean, a
Right.
full assessment to try to figure out what's going on, because everything means my tummy hurts. Anxiety,
Mhm.
depression,
Yes. Yes.
my tummy hurts. My
Mhm.
back hurts. My mommy hit me in my head this morning with a pan, but my
Mm-hmm.
tummy hurts. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you got to delve in that much deeper to try to understand where it's coming from. You
Mhm.
know?
Right.
And that's not just true of children too. Some cultures, you know, associate physical or explain, I guess, their mental health issues through their physical health
Form. Wow.
manifestations or their
Wow.
physical health problems.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
some of that is psychosomatic. They sometimes they imagine
Right.
that they're
Right.
experiencing these symptoms and they're not. They, you know what I mean?
Or the change of maybe going home or going home from work, then the symptoms manifest themselves because you know at home this is what's going to happen. So now it's like, whoo, that fight or flight kick in when I don't want to go home, work almost over. Woo,
Yep.
you know, can I work overtime? Because you know at home it's chaos, you
Stress.
know, and so
Yes.
that starts pumping that cortisone through the body, which is not good, and it's breaking the body down even more because it's constantly running through. But again, if you find a way to alleviate that, your body will start to be able to heal itself,
And
and you'll start to feel better.
you have to learn how to work those issues out in a positive way. Some people
Right.
exercise. Some people do
Mhm.
other things to help
Mhm.
them manage those levels of stress. So
Mhm.
people need to learn not only maladaptive ways of functioning in stress, they need to learn positive ways of,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean, addressing stress.
Yes. 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 And those are, the way we deal with stress, the way we deal with our emotions back to, we learn that
Yeah.
oftentimes from
Right.
Our
our
parents.
family of origin, our
Right.
caregivers.
Right. What we see. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
then it's terrible today when you see it at home, and then every program has, these love and hip hop. Every program has the same type of relationship. You see your mom and dad doing, everybody throwing stuff, fighting, turning up. So then it's more ingrained in us. Like, this is what it
Glorified.
is.
And
Yeah,
it's
this is what's up.
glorified.
Right. Like, and like I said, it's almost, you're right. It's glorified. Like, girl, you gonna let him do that to you? You better go and and all that. Now they don't show you getting locked up.
Yeah.
They don't show
We
that
don't
part.
see
You
TV.
don't never see that part.
This is okay behavior, and it's not.
Right. It's right, and it's not. But again, it's this is what a normal relationship looks like today on most of the programs you watch.
Mhm.
And if you have that at home, that's all you're getting.
It's been reinforced.
It's being reinforced over and over again. So there's no way you can't think that this is normal, right? Because you're just being, inundated with this this model of what relationship or how to relate to people. This is how you do it, and that's sad. That's sad where you have really nowhere to return to say that, and that's why a lot of people don't know it's wrong. We don't know anything's wrong. Everywhere I see, this is what it is. So you don't see anything outside of the negative. So this is what it is. So you don't know even how to ask or what to ask for to change. Why am I changing when everybody else is doing this? This is what it is. It's like
That's why a
I
lot
think
of times people come into therapy with these ideas that the changes that you're trying to tell them are healthy are making them weak or making them a pushover or they're translated into something negative.
Right. I ain't gonna let nobody call me no names. Nah, you gotta let that go. It's not even that deep. Yes, it is. I'm a man. Like, okay. And you see it a lot. Like I don't know much about it, but I think his name is like Blueface, and I think the girl's name is like Christina, but they're always fighting. Their whole relationship, they just beat each other up all the time.
Wow.
And like they're younger, and people follow them, and that's all they do.
They're like a Ray J and what's his wife's name? I don't know. I just remember seeing an episode when I watching it with my daughter and seeing an episode where he threw like a drink on her and pushed her or something like that.
Yeah,
like what?
Like that's normal, right? That's what it is now. Like it's dysfunction at its highest level, but it's glorified to the point where you're saying it. That's why I think especially like DV amongst younger people now. I'm talking about 11, 12, 13 is high because this is what they see. This is normal. You know, it's normal to go up top with a wheel kick and an uppercut. That's what you do, and it's a shame.
Uppercut.
That's conflict resolution. What you talking about?
It is, and that all they're going, and it's not going to change. You know, as they get older, this is what they're going to do. You know, and it's funny because remember, both sides are learning one to do it, one to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst part about it, because the cycle really can't be broken if nobody's willing to change. If people think this is my part in the play, I'm gonna do this, and then they're going to do this. You know, so it's accepted really on both sides. They accepted their roles in this play, and it's
they're okay.
Even though it's not okay, it's okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And that is another thing we learn in our households. You know, the roles, what our roles should be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
For better or for worse.
For better, for worse. I mean, like I said, if you see, especially as a young man, you see your dad or your uncles or whatever, and they out there in them streets, you're going to be out there in them streets because that's what's being modeled to you. And it's funny when they tell you don't do what we're doing. Sometimes you'll get
that. Doesn't work.
Hey,
that doesn't work.
You ain't supposed to be doing this. It's fun.
I don't know how many times we gotta
this.
say it. Kids do what they see, not what you tell them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unless you tell them to do something bad, because they'll do that in a heartbeat. But yeah, when they see things, and that's one thing. Even with my daughter, like I'm very conscious of who I have around, and who I have around me. And that's it can be a problem sometimes for people, and I don't give a fuck. It ain't a problem for me, but oh, we can't hang. Oh, if my daughter here, I can't see you. I don't know you when she's around. You know, and I have her half the time, so she's here all the time. So
let me tell you something. That is so smart of you, because my father, unfortunately, I have a 6'3" tall, dark, and handsome dad. This is where this beauty comes from. So, and what he did was the exact opposite. Right. My dad was a womanizer. You know what I mean? He went out with many women. He showed me that that's how things were supposed to go. So when conflict, I was like, nigga, I'm out. So because that's what I learned. You know what I mean? Now I'm married and I've been with the same man for over 10 years. He drives me absolutely crazy. But I mean, you're
not chucking up the deuces.
Exactly. He knows that the marriage is worth putting that work in, and we both do. We go to therapy. We have conflict. I'm not gonna lie. Any relationship has conflict, but we try our best to remedy that with positive, by using therapy, marriage counseling. Right. Ways of communicating. But if it wasn't for the therapy, I'd have chucked the deuces a long time ago. Carrie, Mm-hmm. But the therapy is what helped me to understand what role I played in that dysfunction. What can I do to improve myself? Because some of it was all my stuff. Some of it was his.
Right.
But I had to take onus of my stuff and grow from that and understand, okay, that's not good. What can I do better? Because that's appropriate. I mean, come on, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's not.
Right.
But sometimes
that's hard for people, though.
It is.
That's hard for people.
It takes emotional.
Oh, absolutely.
Say, I know this was me. I apologize. Let me take some time to get myself together, and then we'll talk about it. And usually I will start off by, I apologize, because I acknowledge that was my fault. I was frustrated about this, and I projected that frustration onto you, and that's not fair.
Right.
And for that, I apologize. And my husband, will usually reply, it's okay. No, it's not okay, because I have to work on that. Mm-hmm. But, I do want to apologize to you, because I know that was all me. Now when it's his fault, I expect him to take the same responsibility.
Right. And
that's why Neil, see that literally saves lives, literally sometimes. So people don't end up on Snapped or the Oxygen Channel.
That's right.
Literally saves lives.
But just having, that conversation. My dad never had those conversations with women. He would just cut them off and move to the next one. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was irrelevant to him. My dad was, tall, dark, and handsome, 6'3", had a good job. You know what I mean? Was raising his, beautiful daughter. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I commend you for being, a single parent. That is not easy. That is
No.
not an easy task. And for a man to stand up and take on that role, you are 100. So I commend you and give you a hand for taking on that role and helping your daughter. Because it takes a special person to do that, to step up to the plate and say, I want to be a father to my daughter.
Right.
I want to be a role model to her. It's not many, I hate to say it, but it's not many fathers out here who are willing to take on that responsibility.
I don't know. I disagree. I think there are a lot. I know a lot personally. I know a lot of, but I think the difference would be getting the education on how to do it in a better way, right? Instead of fumbling through it, trying to figure it out on my own and things of that nature. For me, the best thing was getting some education, getting some parenting, learning how to deal with a daughter, right? It's a girl. I'm not a girl. I don't know. So you have to learn these things, right? So I had to learn a lot. So it was like a class I took, to get ready to prepare for her, to try to be, and again, it's a everyday, it's still a learning process. But again, I have a lot of tools to deal with things when kids do certain things. They do this, when they test you, the things they do. And it's really about how I address these issues.
Yes.
Like I said, I didn't want to be like my mom and just, getting uppercuts and wheel kicks just for no reason. She would just come around, hook me, something got away with.
They don't learn anything from that. All they learn is abuse.
Right.
And they learn that violence solves problems.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Or put the Band-Aid on it where you ain't gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna talk back about it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna think it. I ain't gonna say it.
They don't learn anything about how to communicate their needs.
Nope.
They don't learn anything about how to label and express their emotions properly.
Mm-hmm.
They don't learn any of that stuff.
And they pass that on to you. So for me, growing up, my emotional intelligence was terrible. It was in the basement. So then it looked like conduct. It looked like I had ODD. All those things they say, behavioral issues. Just because I wasn't able to express myself or how I was feeling. So I acted out the way I saw at home. I would turn up. Let's tear this room up. Every desk gonna be turned over. You understand me?
That was done. We accomplished.
Yeah, everyone. And it took a while to learn things, but it took someone to invest in me to give me my self-esteem, to help me. And it wasn't until my senior year in school that I met my track coach, who actually made me really respect myself, respect things, and that it changed, it changed everything, to the point where I know I wrote him a letter like maybe 7 years ago, thanking him for his involvement in changing the course of where I was going.
That's amazing.
So that was dope. So I do know that, your interaction with someone can actually really change their future, can change their trajectory. Right. It can. So, as I said, the best thing to do is try to get as much education as you can, and help your emotional intelligence grow, and that'll help you as a better person, and it'll help you to deal with people as well.
Yep. But parents have to be willing to take that step.
Right.
Parents have to be willing to acknowledge that, okay, I may need a little help with this.
Right. And again, they have to know it. They have to know it. I remember talking to someone saying, hey, listen, you might want to try some of these parenting classes I was doing. I don't need no book to tell me how to raise my kid. I said,
Yep.
And that's you're looking at it totally the wrong way. It's not that we need a book, but some things are not innate. Just because you carry the baby don't mean you know how to take care of it.
That's right.
I'm tired of hearing that nonsense. Tired of hearing that nonsense too. I carry this baby. I know how to take care of it. No, you don't. You don't.
That's all. You know how to carry.
You know how to carry these nuts, but I don't know about the baby. So.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it definitely is beneficial, and it definitely helped, I think, me not have to fumble through it. and learn.
You.
By the time she was 18, I
Kudos.
got it. That'd have been too late.
Kudos.
Yes.
I think,
And considering the huge impact
Absolutely.
that parents and caregivers have on kids, you would think that people would want to be doing the best
Be the
that they
best that you can
the
be.
best that you can be,
but
you know?
they being it.
But
They're doing it. This is all you see. The neighbors are doing it. Their neighbors are doing it. They're doing it across the street. You see it on TV. A lot of these parents really believe they're doing the best they can do. And once they find, like I know a lot of times when we force them to do things, we force them to get in the program, we force them to see something different. And sometimes when they go in these programs, they're like, oh man, I didn't know I could have did this.
Mm-hmm.
I was really stressing myself out, beating these kids or chasing them around and trying to force them when I could have just said, I'm gonna take this
Yep.
and stick to it. You know what I mean? Find something that the child cares about. Remove that from them if they do something wrong and
Yep.
stick to it. That's more beneficial.
But I think
Right.
that it's the attitude, you
Yep.
know? I mean, I think what is that saying? A smart man knows he doesn't know everything or something to that effect.
Right.
So just
Right.
the attitude that you know everything is a problem.
Yep.
Just
Right.
having that attitude, like nobody can tell me
Nobody knows it all.
anything new or
Mhm.
that's going to help me. I mean, that attitude
Mhm.
will keep you right where you are.
Exactly.
And well, that's when your hubris gets involved, right? You feel like I got this, and you don't want to look, like I said, that word weak. You don't want to look weak in front of her, like I need your help. I'm not a bad parent. That's what people automatically think. You're a bad parent for getting help. No, you're a great parent for getting help.
Exactly.
You're a great parent to get help. You're a bad parent not getting
For
help,
not getting that.
trying to do it on your own, trying to do it like you have some innate ability to do something that, raise these things that come with no instructions. That's silly, right? That's silly. And not saying everything from, anything you go to is going to work, but you're going to learn some other skills and things of that nature to help you. And help is always good. I have never seen a problem where help was not good. Like if I had one girl, two girls, that's even better. Extra help.
Well, he didn't say it. I'm waiting.
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying if there's
Not
another
gonna
girl, I'm not gonna
say
say
it
the side John.
because the side joint comes out every
Yeah, We're not.
every
I'm trying to keep her to this.
side joint
They
comes
think
out every
they all think I'm
discussion.
talking about them. I can't keep bringing them up. They're like, "Well, you just talking about me again?" No. Well, who you talking about? Huh?
So guys, any last words on our topic tonight? How your childhood affects your relationships, Tina?
I just think understanding um the dysfunction is key,
Mhm.
and understanding that okay, what are my benefits to getting some help? Well,
Mhm.
I know that my parents used to fight, and my mother, would be the on a you know would be on the tail end of abuse. So how is that affecting me? And I think a lot of these parents, I think a lot of it basically it comes to exposure. We need, I think there's a definite need for elementary schools and up to be exposed to some level of behavioral. Instead of having a counselor, I think they need to have like a mental health counselor, someone who can talk to them about their feelings and help them to work through their emotions. I think there needs to be more of that in the school. Like, a lot of the counselors are just helping them to with their, future goals instead of understanding what their, because how can I help you go to college when you're not even eating a full meal twice a day? How can I help you get into a good, healthy college or a secondary education if you're getting beaten every day? I think there needs to be some level of help for these kids and just exposure in elementary school, and except for 504 plans and IEPs, there needs to be some additional support, and I think it needs to be better received from the parent, not forced upon the parent like an IEP or 504 plan would be. It's forcing the parents into this. I think they need to come to understand that what they've learned is dysfunction, and what they're dealing, what they're teaching their child is dysfunction. So there needs to be some level of help to to interfere with what their kids are learning in terms of coping skills. I just think education should be poured into the elementary schools, helping these kids to understand their behavioral health issues.
Okay.
I would say
Darrell?
one thing about that. The big problem with that is most of these schools, the therapists or whoever they are probably young. They just got out of school. This is their first job. They're going to do 2 or 3 years here, and they're out after they got their learning experience at their school. So every year, couple of years, these therapists are changing in these schools, so they're never really getting roots, and they're never even learning. I feel like your first couple of years at any job, whoever you deal with as clients are probably not getting the best from you because you're learning still. You're still learning.
And
right?
I think one therapist for 1,000 kids is unacceptable.
Oh yeah, right. Because you're gonna burn them out. They're gonna get burned out. And they can't address everybody's needs. I'll give you 3 minutes. I got 2.5 minutes for you, right? So I can't even really get to know you like I need to know you. But again, these are the schools that need the most help, or in certain areas that are not given the help they need, which have these kids spiraling out of control, and then that's the pipeline to jails.
But that's where I think, Carrie's book comes into play. I think, exposure is key. Helping these kids
Absolutely.
to understand positive ways of dealing with conflict is key. You know what I mean? They need to have these resources. If they're not exposed to it by, a counselor who sees over 1,000 kids, then at least let the books help them, assist them. Let there be a reading assignment that they talk about in class. The introduction should be early on.
Absolutely.
I agree. Especially when we know that these things aren't happening in the home, and not only aren't they happening because the parents don't really know themselves, but sometimes the parents are really resistant to the changes. So, I agree that the introductions have to be early on, and ideally, bringing the parents in as well to at least give them some exposure to these topics
outside of a negative connotation.
Right.
Instead of calling them in when they get in trouble, it should be. I was at a school that did donuts for something and had the parents come in and the kids come in where they would meet the teachers and talk and everything about things. It was packed. It was like it had to be like 500 parents there in the morning, able to talk to the teachers, and it was outside of some drama. So you could talk about these things. And I thought that was really great experience to have where, like I said, because it wasn't something where it was punitive, where you are coming in defensive, like because little man did something.
Yes. Because you already got an attitude when you come in the door and you're not hearing anything that's being said. Right.
Because you don't want that bad. First of all, that bad parenting does have something to do with you, I believe. Little man, little peaches in there doing because of whatever's going on with you, and it may not be directly, but like I said, maybe some things you're not doing or some things you're allowed to happen in the house, they're doing it in the classroom. But you don't want to be looked at as a bad parent, so you come in there like, it ain't my fault that that's his fault. He's poor. That's your fault. He's poor. Your fault.
Love you too, Neo. Happy holidays. So thank you guys for once again being a part of this very informative discussion. If you have any questions or you want to continue the discussion, just add your comments under the video in the relationship flow group. If you'd like to be on the panel, just message us in the relationship flow group. If you have a topic, do the same. And everybody have a wonderful Christmas or holiday season or whatever you celebrate. Enjoy yourself, be safe, and we will see you next week.
And thank you for involving me, guys. Thank you for including me in your night. I appreciate it. I learned a lot, and it was nice talking to you guys today.
Thank you for being here.
It was nice having you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.